Okay, let's look at an example of an instrument that, and this is a real assignment for this course a couple of times ago, and let's give some feedback. Let's make some edits, some suggested changes, and then let's look at a way we might revise it. There's a little bit of context given here. And I do this with the permission of the student who did this. She said I could use it this way. We're measuring, it has to do with the cortisol levels, and I learned a lot about that, more than I ever thought there was to know. But the instrument, it looks like it's all demographics, but it's not. I mean, the idea is that, I lost it. The idea is that certain characteristics indicate a predisposition to a certain condition. So here's the thing that she's asked. She's trying to see how predisposed certain people are to this. So here's her original submission. Don't know what that was, but okay. All right, let's just go down, and I don't know how to look at this holistically. We'll just kind of go down in parts. And so the original submission starts off with some instructions. Complete the following questionnaire, which is part of a research study in which you are participating with your child. Fill in the blanks or circles. Fill in the blanks or circle the option that best describes you. Well, I'm not sure if this is adequate instruction or when you see what the actual items are. Fill in the blank or circle the option may or may not be good enough instruction. We'll see as we go on. Number 1, yes or no. Did you use tobacco during your pregnancy? Yes or no. Anything wrong with that? What might be wrong with that? And y'all feel free to type and weigh in. Okay, what if the child was adopted? Good point. So we need to define, matter of fact, that's one of the things I was going to say a little later. I'll say it now since you brought it up. First of all, which pregnancy are we talking about? If we're talking about a child, we're obviously talking about natural children, so we may want to specify that in the instructions. We may want to specify, and you'll see the revision we do this, your most recent natural child. Because what if I smoked during one pregnancy and not the other? Of course, I didn't smoke during any pregnancies, but somebody might or might not. And I said smoking, using tobacco. Does any tobacco use constitute the kind of things I'm looking for? And maybe not. If I mean smoking, I need to say smoking. So I don't know if that's clear or not. Number 2, what is your family's annual income? $22,000 or less, between $30,000 and $45,000, $50,000 plus. The survey is just for females, and we should have specified that too. You're right. What's wrong with number 2? And what if I make $25,000 a year? I don't have a place to put that. It's not on there. So I've got gaps, and I've got some unclear options. I'll make between $30,000 and $45,000, somebody might say. Well, you mean $30,000, not $30. Say what you mean. And notice I use a dollar sign on some of them and not on some of them. Be consistent. So I've got some gaps and just really some bad options here. I keep getting this screen that I don't want in the way of everything. Yeah, it's definitely not nearly definitive enough. What's your highest educational level? 11.7 plus or minus 5 years, 13.5 plus or minus 5 years, 19.6. I have no idea what that means. This was turned in on the due date for the initial draft for this assignment. the assignment in this class? I don't know what any of them. Actually, I agree with you, but I agree with you a lot more than that. I don't know what 11. Why 11.7? What the heck? Where the heck does that come from? What if I hadn't been in school at all? Well, I probably couldn't read this, but I don't have a place for anything less than what 7.7, whatever that means. What if I quit school in the 6th grade? I'm assuming. Yeah, these are not good options. Let's just suffice it to say that. Are you a single parent? Yes or no? That seems innocuous enough. What does a single parent mean? Does it mean? I mean, it means without spouse. But is that specific enough? I don't know. It may or may not be. How old were you when your child was born? Well, again, which child? We've already decided we need to specify that, and if we have specified this the oldest natural child, it cleans that up, but we haven't yet. Number 6, how many people, including you, live in your household? That's fairly clear, I think. I might, one of the things I might do is I might emphasize somehow the word including, maybe underlined or capped or bolded or something, just so they don't miss that. The same thing for the next item. It's a pretty straightforward yes or no question. Did your baby weigh less than 5 pounds? I might emphasize the less than part, underline, bold, or italicize or something. Do you own your own home? Well, I know what you mean by that, but if you ask me, the bank might own more of my home than I do. So I don't know if I've got. Does it include a mortgage, or do you mean outright? Or you probably don't. But that may or may. I'm being really nitpicky. Your comment about at birth is less wordy. You're right, and we want to be less wordy. So that may or may not be clear. I don't think it's a fatal flaw, but I might could tweak that a little bit. Number 9, how many children do you have? Is it clear or not? Yeah, do you want adopted, foster, natural, a step? Yeah, there's all kind. I don't know. Okay, you're making it fuzzier than I thought it was. Should come a different order, you think? Oh, yeah, probably so. Because to me, that sounds like kind of an early question kind of thing that would make more sense earlier. Hadn't thought of that, but you're right. And finally, what's your occupation? Occasional or clerical, technician, professional? First of all, I don't know what occasional means. I think I do, but not sure. I could think of a lot of occupations to where there's not a place to circle for this. And what is the? I don't know. Let me go back and see what was that again. Yeah, professional. Yeah. I don't know what professional means. It may or may not be what anybody else thinks it means. So yeah, that's pretty undefined. Okay, here's what we did with it. And again, I think even the revision could be tweaked some, and you'll probably point out some things I hadn't thought of. But here's the final submission. Here's what this student changed and turned in for the final draft for the assignment in this class. Parent questionnaire. I'm not sure we even had a label before, did we? So I think we gave it a title. Please complete the following. Yeah, we didn't have a title. Please complete the following questionnaire, which is part of a research study, and we're participating with your child. Put an X in the blank which best describes you or your situation. All items are optional. Why is it important to say all items are optional? Yeah, you have to give, and this is an IRB kind of thing, you have to give people the option to opt out of anything. And it clarifies that. Now, I've changed the format a little bit too. What were your habits regarding cigarette smoking during your first pregnancy? Oh, we've specified which pregnancy now. And we've also specified cigarettes. Didn't smoke at all, less than a pack or more. It's all inclusive. There are no gaps. There's what? The what now, say again? Okay. So in number one, the options are there's no gaps, no overlap. We specify we're talking about cigarettes. I don't care if you chew tobacco or not. And what's your family's annual income? And specifying before taxes, which we didn't make note of that earlier, but we can see this is one of the things I think the student wisely figured out that'd be a good thing to be more specific about. 0 to 22,000, 2201 to 45,000, 45,001 or more. Again, the options are they're placed for everything and everything in its place. There are no gaps, no overlap. And you can divide these up however way that makes it. Maybe 22,000. Maybe that's some kind of economic benchmark. I don't know. Maybe there's a reason for that to be the break point. What's your highest education level? Remember all those plus or minus fives? Okay, now we're less than 8th grade, 8th to 12th. And yeah, you could probably say the most recent grade or highest grade you completed beyond 12th grade. Turns out in this particular kind of project, we didn't need to ask about college, just if you finished high school or not. That turned out that wasn't a factor in the kind of thing she was measuring, so she didn't have to get real specific in terms of any college or how much college. So in this case, it's appropriate. If you're collecting other kinds of information, you may need to give different options. For this project, it worked pretty well. What is your marital status? Single, never married. Married, divorced, separated, or widowed. You might want to say something like domestic partnership in here. I don't know. So you could probably improve this. So it turns out she didn't want to know if they had been married before. Turned out that was somewhat important to the study. Okay, so we're talking about first children. How old are you when your first child was born? Probably should have specified first natural child. Probably should have said that. 16 or younger, 17, 25, 6, 26 or older. And again, these categories are broken down based on some lit review data and some things that research has previously indicated as natural break points. No gaps, no overlaps. Everything is placed for everything, and everything has a place. How many people, including you? Remember, we said maybe emphasize including you. 1 to 3, 4 to 6, more than 6. Notice I'm formatting all these the same way, so I don't have like a stray yes or no to circle or different boxes to check that are in different places on the page. It'll make it easier for you to score too if you have all the answers in the same place. Number 7, we emphasized less than 5 pounds. What's now number 8? We're specifying including if you have a mortgage. If you have a mortgage, yeah, you own your home for our purposes. Not the bank's purposes, but our purpose. And number 9, I'm specifying natural births. And again, no gaps, no overlaps in the options. Do you currently work outside your home? Turns out we didn't so much care what they did. We just want to know if they worked or how much. No, some, full-time. And another question that came up later about involving treatment for depression. Never have, yeah, but not now, and yeah, now. I think that's pretty inclusive. And that's the end of it. And my point is that, boy, this revision is a lot of revision there was to be done. Point made about the age, 26 or older was a wide age group. Yeah, it was, but that's okay. For the purpose of this study, it beyond 26 didn't matter according to lit review and previous research. It might matter depending on other research topics. So that was okay here. It may or may not be okay in another context. So we saw the original. We saw what we would edit, and I would write on the original, just bleed all over the page. Just make notes. You probably can't see it, but the notes I made, and I've got well, let me see if I can enlarge this a little bit. It won't pick up well on the camera, but I'll just show you there's some things on it. If I can move my mouse. Okay. You can't see that worth squat. Anyway, I've got all kinds of pencil marks on this. And that's the kind of feedback that you can give to each other. Question: does treatment mean prescription or institutional rehab? Yeah, I don't know. You may need to specify that. So that's a good point. Don't know. Yeah, does it mean taking some kind of medication, or have you been institutionalized? If it matters, then you need to ask that. Yeah. Other thoughts, questions about this particular example of revision? Okay.